Hey guys, we just want to let you know that the audio might be a little off for the first half of this video. Unfortunately, the microphone wasn't working or something happened, but we do have the audio from the camera, and it's a little rough, but about halfway through the video, it'll switch back to the microphone and it'll sound quite a bit better. Sorry for the inconvenience, and we'll see you at the end of the video.
But as far as my own personal collecting, these
right
are what drive me. I love the physical media.
All right, so you feel like you covered your ass with that statement?
I did.
Okay, good.
Thank you for pointing that out so elegantly.
Hey everybody, welcome to Comics with Bueller. As always, I'm Bueller. Welcome to the new Coffee and Comic Show. Is that okay with you and Damien? I call it the new Coffee and Comic Show.
Absolutely, man. It's your show.
I don't know what the big deal is. Apparently they're ganging up on me and they don't like the name. So Damien, I don't know what your problem is.
Oh no.
But it's still going to be called the new Coffee and Comic Show. And this is episode 87. As you can see, I'm not alone. I got my good friend Bob here with me. Bob, how are you?
I'm doing okay, man. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. Yeah, exactly. Shame on you.
Oh, that's great. I'm doing okay, man. How you doing?
I'm doing really good. Thank you so much. But we always start with the coffee that we're drinking today. And today we are drinking coffee from Mocha Express. And I'm drinking a peanut butter mocha. And man, I needed it today. I'm out of coffee. I don't know why that happened, to be totally honest. So you brought this over on the way here, so I'm going to take a little sip.
Awesome stuff.
It's heaven. Let's close my eyes. It's so good.
By the way, if you guys ever go to Mocha Express and you order the Bueller, that's what you'll get, a peanut butter mocha.
That's right. That is the Bueller. That's awesome.
It's awesome stuff.
We got a great topic that we're going to talk about today. It's where do you see the comic industry in the next 5 to 10 years? If you want to skip to that, we'll leave a timestamp down below, but if you want to hang out with us for a few minutes and get to know us a little bit better, please do. First thing we want to cover is thank you to our Patreons, all the new members, all the members who have been part of it in the past and in the future. Thank you. Our Patreon is $3.99 a month. It does help us out a lot. It's the price of one comic book a month. If you think we provide the value worth like one comic book a month, please feel free to join our Patreon. And at the end of the video, we have a scrolling video that shows all the names and stuff. You know, I put together. Looks like Star Wars. It's not bad. So
I like it. I like it.
You're on there.
I know I am. Yeah, that's why I like it.
Okay. I also want to let people know that I do have some more indie Bueller boxes available. Everyone really liked them last week. We sold out. I had to make more because there are a lot of people asking for more, and right now I only have 5. So just 5 more, and that's pretty much it. So if you want an indie Bueller boxes, all indie books, it's 11 books. The link is down below. It's only $14 plus shipping, and you'll get all those great indie books in the indie Bueller box. A lot of great titles. I went and bought a bunch at the TFA because they had the sale, so I was able to load these books, or load these boxes really heavy with some really good books and a lot of number 1. So that way people can jump on a brand new series that they haven't seen before.
Sure.
So not bad. I was able to actually put Folklords in almost every one of the boxes that I put out. Number 1. And that's like my favorite book.
Yeah.
So it was really cool.
Good stuff.
But let's go ahead and get to our first 5 right away. And I will go ahead and start since my book's already up there. I have these books right here I'm going to show are from that sale that they're having for $1 each. And this is Thor. This is the Jason Aaron run, I believe. And this is a variant that they had. And then I picked up all these variant Thor number 1s, the Donny Cates ones. Here's this variant for Thor number 1. I believe this is the Art Germ one.
Art Germ.
Art Germ variant for Thor number 1. Another variant for Thor number 1. I don't even know which ones these are. And another variant for Thor number 1. These were all $1.
That's amazing.
And then they had another stack of Thor number 1s. No 2, 3, 4, 5, but a bunch of number 1s.
Right.
So I got all those, and I got a bunch of other books, so not bad.
That's awesome.
All right, you're up with your first 5.
Yeah, and today I thought I would bring some Flash goodness. So I got Flash number 224 with some reverse Flash on there. And then I got Flash number 78. This is one of the ones from Williamson's run.
That's the B cover.
That's the B cover. I love the B covers. And then number 223, another reverse Flash. Actually, Rogue's Gallery is on there.
Nice.
And then I got number 52.
I love that cover. I actually have that one autographed by the, what's his name?
By Williamson?
Yeah, he autographed that one right at the very top. Looked really cool.
Yeah, he's got a great signature.
Gold ink.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then this came from the Flash 750th anniversary, and that's Gorilla Grodd, I love Gorilla Grodd, and so
that's the 750th anniversary?
Not 700, but number 750, which is the whatever anniversary.
Yeah, I get it.
You get it, right? That's the only cover I wanted out of all those covers because Gorilla Grodd was on it, all right?
That's awesome. I see where you're going. Well, those are great. I love Flash. They're actually one of my favorite DC books is Flash.
Yeah.
And Joshua Williamson does a great job. He's been writing it ever since the rebirth, #1, all the way to what they are now. They switched it over to 750 for that, 750th anniversary.
Yeah.
But he's still doing. He also does the Batman Superman one as well, which is a pretty good series. But let's go ahead and shift gears because we have to go to Robbie's pick of the week.
Hey everybody, Rockin' Robbie Billups from Pop Culture Philosophers here. Hope you're enjoying checking out Bob and Bueller's show. My pick of the week is
Dark Knight's Death Metal issue number 2. Man, this is an amazing, amazing series so far. Issue 1 blew me away, and issue 2, same thing, did not disappoint. Snyder is killing it on this. The artwork from Capullo is amazing. I know a lot of people said they were confused in the beginning of it, and the reason for that is that if you're not following any of the past Dark Knights metal storyline, this kind of drops you off after the war has been lost. That's where he drops you, right? Afterwards. And so you got to kind of understand that you're kind of backtracking from that point.
Yeah. So I didn't read it, but it has a shiny cover.
Yes.
So I gotta get it. I read the first one, and I was one of those that was kind of confused on the first one because I don't know the history. And I think I need to go back and read some more stuff before I jump back into the book. But also, from what I understand, there was a first appearance in here as well. The Dark Knight.
The Darkest Night.
Darkest Night. And then there was talk of some Robin character.
That's correct.
But didn't show up, correct?
Yeah, they actually talked about that last book.
Okay.
They kind of fleshed it out a little more inside of this book. But the Robin King is coming.
Okay.
And the Batman Who Laughs kind of appointed one of the Robin Crows.
All these kings are coming.
Yeah, exactly.
What is the deal?
But I will say that when you see what happens on how the Darkest Night is formed inside of this book, it'll blow you away.
Very
and
cool.
You'll understand where they're going from this point. I can't wait.
Awesome. Well, this is a great book. It was actually #1 was also Robbie's pick of the week when it came out a couple weeks ago. If you guys aren't familiar with Robbie from Pop Culture Philosophers, go check him out. He does the best reviews for comics on YouTube, to be totally honest. I've said that 1,000 times, and I'll say it 1,000 more times. He really does a great job. His link is down below, so go check out his channel. But let's go ahead and shift gears and get today's topic, because today's topic is, where do we see comics or the comic industry in the next 5 to 10 years? And let me just tell you this before we get started. Man, a lot of people worry about digital comics. I mean, I'm talking like 9 out of 10 comments were, digital is coming, digital is coming. Man, it was depressing. I read them all. But we're going to go ahead and cover a bunch of them right here. And actually, Bob, you are up first.
Sure thing. So the first comment comes from somebody from the Portland Comics crew. We got Damien Sleepy Reader 666.
Yeah, you had breakfast with him, didn't you?
I did. I had breakfast with him yesterday, and then I had dinner with somebody else last night.
Does Sam know this?
I have no idea.
Yeah, let's...
So Damien says, 5 to 10 years from now, we are going to see a lot more self-published floppies in the comic shops as the do-it-yourself underground and webcomics world discovers the value of the comic shop system and experience. Perhaps also an increase in companies like Image that are really just collectives of independent creators. I also think the all-you-can-read services like Marvel Unlimited will be offering digital-first content that will later appear in trade collections.
So let's talk about the all-you-can-read services, the Marvel Unlimited, and the DC. Are they still doing it? Because the whole thing with the DC app, is that like going away because they're part of the HBO Max thing or whatnot? Because I hardly hear anything about that DC app anymore.
Yeah, I mean, that's what the speculation, they haven't actually announced it. The speculation is that they're going to roll all of the content that you have right now on the DC app into the HBO Max streaming service, which means...
That's the service that they're going with?
Yeah, that's the service.
I wasn't 100% sure.
And I mean, the writing's on the wall because all of the new shows that are coming out...
I saw that.
The Green Lantern show, the...
Doom Patrol is on there?
Doom Patrol, and then the Snyder Cut is going to be released on there. And so, which means all the digital content for comics will be going away. They're not going to put that on the HBO Max service.
I wonder if they would just like do it have it separately, like just have the DC. What is it? The DC app called?
It's called DC All Access.
DC All Access. I wonder if they would just make that for comic books.
It's possible.
Yeah,
but
just just how Marvel Unlimited is, just comic books.
Right.
Why doesn't DC just do that and have the platform's there?
Right.
It's already there. It already works. Just take the video content off and just have it for comics and lower the price, because it was kind of pricey, if I remember correctly, when that came out.
Yeah, I mean, I got it on a special deal,
Yeah.
and that was good for me. I let my subscription lapse because I don't watch those shows all the time.
Yeah.
And but looking forward, if I want to see the next season of Titans, I'm looking at paying a premium
Yeah.
on it. But when it comes to the comics, I really don't know what their plan is. I know that Jim Lee, has wanted digital to move forward as much as possible, into the future. But I don't know if they would, consider having their own app, or that they would use something like Comixology
Yeah.
to promote their stuff.
One thing I want to hit on these, with the Marvel Unlimited and the DC app, the price point. And I've always been curious about like an acceptable price point. Just to give you an example, so this is just comic book media that would be represented on these apps. Disney Plus is $6.99 for all of that video content. Netflix, I think it's like $12.99 or somewhere in there. How much should a comic book multimedia app cost on a monthly basis? Where does that reference as far as like falling in line with these blockbuster movies that cost millions and millions and billions of dollars to make, and then they put them on a streaming app, compared to a comic, which is relatively quite a bit less money to spend and make and put onto a service like that. So I've always been curious about the price point. What is acceptable? Is another $10 acceptable for monthly comics? I don't know. That's kind of I don't know the answer to that. I mean, should it be as much as Netflix? Do me a favor in the comments. Let me know. I don't exactly know the price for these apps. If you know the price, let me know. And also, let me know what you guys think would be an acceptable price for an app like Marvel Unlimited. I mean, in comparison to the video streaming apps, should they be the same price, or should they be half or less or whatnot? So let us know in the comments down below. Kind of interesting. I've never used them. I've looked at them. They haven't really appealed to me. But I've always been kind of curious about the price point, what people would be willing to pay for a digital, all-access service. So.
Sure.
You're up next as well, Bob.
Sure. This one comes from Flash Ray Videos. He says, I think the cover craze will die down a little bit, but not much. There will be new hot artists, and people will forget who Peach Momoko was. I think the physical book game will still hold on, considering titles that were supposedly to be digital only are being made into physical books. You can't cherish a digital book the same as you could a physical copy, and it's easier to attract new readers with a book than a link.
Okay, a couple things there.
Yeah.
Peach Momoko. You mentioned Peach. Let's just put that out there.
Let's just go ahead and put it out there.
I don't get it. I
don't either.
literally don't. I've seen her stuff, and here's the thing I don't get. I don't get how people go crazy over it.
Yeah.
Okay? Like, oh, it's the best ever type thing. I don't get that part. Is it good? Sure, it's good. It's fine, But the hype that they put behind it, like it's the end-all, be-all, I don't understand that.
I don't either.
Okay? I would look at the covers, oh, it's nice, looks good, whatever. But it's not like an award-winning, like the holy grail of covers or whatnot,
I wouldn't put it up there, her stuff up there with an Alex Ross cover or a Del Otto cover or a J. Scott Campbell cover,
Yeah.
right?
Or a Rob Liefeld cover.
Oh, there you go, buddy. But I mean, the craze it just blows me away because it's nowhere near that type of of precision. But beauty is in the eye of the beholder, and people they'll go with what they want for artwork.
Sure.
But my gut feeling is that this is a hot craze, and people are jumping on it, and they're going to be finding out later on this wasn't all that great.
Yeah.
I will confess.
We might be wrong.
We might be wrong.
Yeah, I don't know.
I will confess I do have one of her covers, and it was the only one that appealed to me, and that was the Star Wars cover with Yoda on it that she did. Other than that, I don't care about it.
Yeah, it's interesting to see that. And more power to her. I mean, she's getting her name out there, and she's making some money. She's doing something she enjoys doing, and she's finding an audience for it, which is great. Just personally, I look at it; it just doesn't float my boat.
True.
And that's just is what it is.
Right.
I've had people get mad at me because I don't like Peach Momoko.
That's funny.
That's like, give me a break. You know,
Yeah,
do you like Rob Liefeld? You know?
I wouldn't say that I don't like her, but it just doesn't grab me. But I will say thank you very much for doing what you're doing, because a lot of people are buying more comics because of those covers. So
You've been clapping a lot lately.
I have.
You all right?
Yeah, I don't want to make it too loud because sometimes my sound cuts out when I clap too loud.
You do. All right. Also on that, I want to hit a couple other things as well. Something on here that's very cool, and I don't know if we had something to do with it, but I do know that who watches the show, and a few people at Marvel that watch the show, and I don't take any of the credit. If any credit goes to anyone, it's the people watching that voice their opinion, and I think that does go a long way.
Sure.
But Marvel has decided to take a handful of the titles that they went digital only to not finish the series, and they changed their mind.
They did.
And they're going to re-release those books that were only going to be digital, like Hawkeye. That one is coming out. You'll actually have a physical copy of the floppy book, not the trade, the actual floppy, and then probably a trade later. But they have reversed their decision, and they're bringing back those books. We might have had a little something to do with it.
Maybe.
You never know. That would be kind of cool. But like I said, if we did, it's more because of the people who left the comments and were upset about it. We talked about it, and like this conversation is driven by your comments. So if we're talking about it, it's because you guys are saying it.
Right.
And that's what's happening. But it's kind of cool to see that Marvel has changed their mind and are making physical copies, because it didn't make any sense when they decided to just do. Not only just they canceled a few series, but then they said, "Oh, the last couple issues are going to be digital, and you won't be able to complete your set."
Yeah.
And it's just dumb. I mean, you gave me some books, and I noticed the Hawkeye Freefall was in there, and probably because you weren't going to be able to get number 4.
Exactly.
Well, too bad.
I'm okay, man.
So, what do you think about them changing their mind?
I think it's a good move. I think it shows that they do listen to their fans. There are a lot of people out there that are collectors that are completionists, and when you make a decision like that, you completely cut off the possibility of those people being satisfied with those runs. I do think that Marvel is trying to do things, change things up, trying to figure out where their next move is in the current climate, and good for them for trying things out and making changes like that. That's all I have for that one.
Yeah, and like I want to say to the people. There's a few at Marvel and a few at some other publishers. Thank you for watching.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So,
absolutely.
Very cool. Okay, I got the next one here. This one is from Matt Ron Imus. Okay? It says, I am very surprised the comic book industry is thriving at this point in time. I used to collect in the 90s and in the early 2000s, but I remember watching a bunch of videos a few years ago about how your comic collection is worthless. I'm glad to see that they were wrong. Hopefully it stays this way. Rare and desirable books will always be rare and desirable. Although the variant market is starting to look a lot like the 90s again with a speculator boom. So I like what he has to say, and we did some research before. Besides the pandemic, the comic book industry was going up. In 2019, the sales for comics were at an all-time high, higher than it's been like 3 or 4 years.
That's right.
And I didn't realize that until I read the article and did a little bit of research. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool, because you hear like, oh, shops are closing. And we got to take take the pandemic out of it, because this is something we're dealing with. Never been like that before.
Right.
There's never been a complete shutdown. So these last 4 months, let's take this out of the pie. Besides then, people were interested, people were wanting stuff, people were buying more books, there was a bunch of titles coming out, there was a lot of buzz. And we hear the buzz because we're in comics, so we're always hearing the buzz and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So he's not wrong about the industry going up and stuff. He's talking about the variants, they look a lot like the 90s and stuff like that, maybe the speculator boom. I think there's a little bit of, I think he's right about that. I think there is the variant craze still going on to this day.
Sure.
But honestly, I think it'll be around a long time. I think the reason why the variant craze is here is because there is a market for it, and people like buying variants.
Yeah.
They drive me crazy sometimes when I see so many variants, but like I said before, they wouldn't make them if people didn't want them.
That's right.
And there's so many opportunities for comic shops to make exclusive covers. I mean, there's YouTubers who have exclusive covers. That opportunity is there, and people want them. You were just telling me earlier, these variants went on sale this morning, and they were gone within 2 minutes.
2 minutes, yesterday and today.
Yeah, yesterday as well. Same thing. They're gone within 2 minutes, and then they're on eBay like an hour later for 3 times the price.
Yep, exactly.
There is a market for it, and the people pay for the 3 times the price and stuff, which is kind of surprising.
Right.
So I don't know if that fades down. I would like to see it phase down, to be honest, because I do think it's a little inflated, and I do think some people take advantage of it, like what you were saying.
Yeah, exactly.
People come in and buy all 500 copies, and then they're on sale the next day. But anyway, I think he's right. What's your response?
Well, I think, I would agree with everything that you just said. What I don't agree with is that it looks like the 90s. I think when, you look at the 90s, we had a lot of people who weren't into comics that came in for the investment and bought up a bunch of stuff.
That's true.
I do believe that Marvel flooded the market. That was kind of like a catchphrase back then. Marvel's flooding the market, and that's what hurt them. I don't believe that Marvel is flooding the market in the same way.
Yeah.
I believe that the demand is coming from mostly collectors, not so much investors. And so I don't think we're going to have the problem of the market crashing the same way that it did before when all those people stopped buying. So I do believe that the cover craze is going to be around for a while. I would completely agree with that. Really, when it comes down to it, the market being up last year, I attribute not to so much them flooding the market with things, but the fact that some of these comic companies started coming out with a lot of great content.
Yeah.
Boom Studios killed it last year. So some of the events that happened last year did very well.
Yeah.
And so when you start putting out good content, people start coming back in and wanting to check it out. And again, this year, even post-pandemic, we're seeing a lot of great content coming out right now, and I think it's really starting to stir up the comic collectors.
Yeah.
And so I would attribute what was going on right now more to that than something that's going to hurt the market going forward.
Yeah. Boom last year, perfect example. If you look at where their standing was at the beginning of 2019, as far as where they ranked as far as publishers, they were like 10th.
10th.
And then at the end of 2019, going into 2020, they're 4th. So they passed everyone except for, obviously, Marvel, DC, and then Image. But then it's Boom. Boom's right there. They passed Dark Horse, IDW, a bunch of other ones as well, because they have a really unique business model with their books. It's quality over quantity. They cut back on the amount of titles they're releasing, and we're really focusing on the quality of their book, and it shows with their sales and stuff. They're putting out less product and yet making bigger gains in the market.
Yeah.
That goes a long way if you put out really good product.
For sure.
And their book quality is nice.
It's amazing.
And I like what you said about the, in the 90s you had a lot of people just investing in, didn't even know about comics. They were just buying a bunch of comics, I don't think we get that hardly at all anymore.
I don't think so either.
I think we still get people investing, but they're invested in comics themselves.
Absolutely.
They're fans of comics and stuff like that. They're just not the dudes like, oh, I'm going to go buy, what's that name of that comic? I'm going to go get 20 copies of that so-called comic, and I'll pay for my car later or something like that. I don't think you see that anymore. So, let's see. I have the next one as well. This one is from Joker Jack. Joker Jack says, I see the increase in ordering and getting direct, which may hurt the collectors that buy up the big issues at the newsstands. I think I can also see DC continue their guerrilla-style selling, putting them back on the map, and maybe becoming competition for Marvel again. I don't think the physical comics will ever go away. As you said at the end of the video, people want their comics. I know I do. The getting direct, that's kind of an interesting thing. And would you like if you got your comics direct, like straight from the publisher?
Nope.
Really?
Nope, because I tried years ago.
Yeah.
I tried the Marvel subscription service. I tried both of them actually, the DC subscription service as well. And when they came in the mail, there was a lot of damages.
Those are coming from Midtown.
Are they really?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Midtown is the one that handles their subscription
This
services.
was back in the 90s was going
Sure.
on? Okay.
I don't know.
But I mean, a lot of the stuff that came in the mail,
Yeah.
they were damaged.
Yeah.
And
And that bothers you.
it does bother me,
Yeah, I know.
right? I mean, and it's not because of anything that has to do with comics. I've
Yeah.
always been that way.
Yeah.
If you see me with a novel, I won't break the spine just because I want it on my shelf so I can see the spine looking nice, and so I open it a certain way. I've always been that way.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just how I am.
All right.
Go ahead and judge me.
Come on.
Anyway, But so I would not want them coming to me direct from a publisher. I like going to a shelf in my comic shop and picking out the comic that I want, that's the nicest condition, and I take it home and I'm happy with it.
Yeah.
And when you go direct to consumer, I got no control over that.
Yeah. I like the direct through a smaller publisher because a lot of smaller publishers don't get featured in Previews magazine.
That's true.
And they're just not in like the catalog when they're ordering. And one thing I found out from doing the Previews videos, a lot of these independent publishers are at the mercy of Diamond and when they want to put their book out.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, oh, okay, Scout's going to put their book out. They want to put it out on the first of the month. And Diamond's like, nope, we're going to put it out some other time. And they really don't know. It's sitting there at Diamond. I've talked to them. I'm like, hey, I keep on featuring your book, and it never comes out. And I'm like, what's going on? And they're like, yeah, Diamond's had it for over a month, and they just haven't solicited it yet to retailers. I'm like, what is going on?
Yeah.
You know? And they're like, hey, if you want one, we have them here. And that's literally a conversation I've had with multiple independent publishers.
So
they're just sitting there.
I mean, so this is kind of like news to me. I've never heard that, you know, they've had books just sitting there.
Yeah.
Do you think that this is market manipulation, that they're giving preference to other companies over some of these smaller companies as far as releasing books?
I think they just take their time. I really don't know. I really don't know what the reasoning behind that is. It doesn't make sense because I can order it directly through the publisher and get it from them before I even see it, you know, coming through your Diamond or shipped to your LCS.
Right.
And God, what was the one that it just happened? It just happened. There was Source Point Press had a book that just hit the shelves like last week, and this is one of the books that they were giving away like 2 months ago when they had their free sale.
That's right.
And I had it, and then I saw it as a new release for this week, and I'm like, I've had that book for 2 months.
Right.
And that's one of those books that literally has been printed for months and it just sat there. And then the distributors decided not to release it and they didn't really have a date.
Right.
So when I'm trying to get all these dates for these books and I call a publisher and they don't know.
Yeah.
They literally don't know when it's going to come out.
I can see that happening, you know, because of the pandemic, right? They have all these books sitting in the warehouse. They can't release them all at once. You know, so they start releasing them in intervals coming out. I can see that. But if this was happening before pandemic, that would be very interesting to me to find out.
Yeah. So I'd be okay with direct to market from the smaller ones because I think that helps them out quite a bit. And I get a bunch of books from publishers. They just send them to me direct. They're not bagged and boarded. They're normally in just like small, medium mail packets and stuff. I've never had a problem, but I can see where damage does come in.
Yeah, I got some books this week from TKO that were packaged really nicely.
Yeah.
That was direct to consumer. And I really enjoyed being able to get those because they came in a nice box.
Yeah.
You know, so there are some companies out there that will, you know, they send that I would trust.
Yeah, TQO was pretty good too. They sent me some stuff as well.
Yeah, they're good.
But not recently. All right, you're up next, Bob.
Sure thing. All right, next.
All right, so the next comment comes from Joe Fabry. Hi, Bueller and Bob. The future in comics lies in the hands of the youth today, of tomorrow, and so forth. Unfortunately, the future of the printed comic book looks doomed to me, as the younger generation, whether it be films, video games, music, books, or magazines, they buy them digitally or stream them. They are not interested in buying physical copies of any type of media. Looking at the overall demographic, the vast majority of comic buyers are the generations that are 30 to 40 and above. Kids are not big readers of comics anyway, but the ones that do, they need to see that comics are an art form and are best appreciated on paper and not on screen. The digital generation scares me, as no one seems to buy anything physical anymore, and that will have a big impact on the future of the printed comic. The digital changeover may not happen as soon as the next 5 to 10 years, but it's definitely coming. As our generation grows ever older, I am 53 by the way, the buying of the printed comic will die out unless the younger generation of readers get into the habit of owning physical copies of our beloved comics and other media too. Sorry to be so negative about this, guys, but I do feel passionate about the subject, and I'm glad you brought it up. Long live comics and Excelsior.
So, Joe, his comment, a lot of comments like this.
Yes.
There's a lot of comments like this. The younger viewer or reader or whatever They just don't have the connection that we do as far as physical comics. Is that going to change? No, it's not.
I don't think so.
There's nothing I can do, you can do, or even you can do that probably can change that. It is what it is. And our generation is a dying breed. I mean, it sounds horrible, but I don't want to, it just is what it is. And unfortunately, the best bet we can do to ensure that comics are still around and maybe just bite the bullet and just say, you know what? If we want younger generation to get into this, we kind of adopt the digital format and at least get something.
Right.
At least we get something. I mean, the physical copies may go away someday or might be very limited as far as what comes out. There's always going to be back issues. There's always going to be the golden age and silver and copper and all that stuff that we can still collect in the modern age. And I'm not saying that the current stuff is going to end anytime soon. Hopefully not within the 5 to 10 years.
Right.
But eventually, it'll be pretty limited.
It will.
And we're getting older, and they're getting younger. And the younger generation has no problem looking on their phone to read the story or a motion comic, which we discussed and stuff like that. And it just won't appeal to them. I can go to my audience and look at my audience that watches the YouTube videos. And they're our age.
Yeah.
I mean, 90% of the people who watch this are between the age of 35 and 60-something.
You get out of here.
Come on. Between 35 and 50. That's 90% of the audience.
Yes.
There's like 1% is less than in the 20s.
Yeah.
And it just is what it is. Unfortunately, there's not a lot we can do. It's too bad because I think that they will miss out
Yeah.
on what we have, or what we've grown up with and stuff. But,
Yeah.
it is what it is. I wish I had a better answer to that, but I really don't. And that's just the younger viewer. It does not interest them.
No.
I'm guilty of switching from a physical platform to a digital. I'm that way with video games. Mm-hmm. I used to get all physical games, and now I'm totally digital.
Yeah.
I mean, I literally have one game that's actually a physical copy for my current gen systems.
Right.
And everything else, 900 game library is all digital.
Yeah.
So, and I don't mind it one bit.
Yeah, I'm the same way when it comes to movies. So you were at my house last night. I got a ton of movies that are digital copies that I bought. It's my library. So I'm the same way. Really when it comes down to this particular subject, I think it is a tragedy when we think of the fact that physical media, when it comes to comic books, may go away.
Yeah.
What would be an even bigger tragedy is that next generation of kids would not have an appreciation for something that is one of a true American art form.
Yeah.
You can still have digital comics going forward. I would be I think I'd be even more upset if digital comics themselves, just a comic medium, wouldn't be appreciated at all.
Yeah.
Going forward. I think, I love comics so much. If I have to take digital, I'll take it digital. But to me, the bigger fear is that they wouldn't appreciate it at all.
Yeah.
And it would go away. And that scares me more than anything.
Yeah. A perfect example, Robbie's pick of the week, okay? The Batman death metal or whatnot. Mm-hmm. That's his pick of the week, whether it's a physical or a digital copy.
That's correct.
That makes no difference.
Yeah.
Because this pick of the week was based on the story itself.
Absolutely.
And you could read the story on your phone, on your computer, or on a book. Not the same as far as the feel.
No.
But it's still the same story.
Yeah.
And as long as we still get stories, and I'd appreciate that. Because the thing I'd hate the most if the stories went away.
Yeah.
So.
Absolutely.
Looks like I have the next one here. This is from Rafe. And Rafe said, I think there are too many of the 30 to 60-year-old collectors to ever go digital only. So I don't think there is any way that will happen for a couple decades. There are some younger writers that will continue to come up with storylines we never imagined. More Donny Cates of the worlds will show up. I think a generation of young people who grew up in Marvel movies will be writing more, knowing there is potential it could make its way into the movies or shows. Over the next 5 years, Image will continue to grow and catch up with the big two. Love the video each week. So future creators like Donny Cates, he's writing some stuff. First off, I want to say something. Comic books today are nothing like they were back in the 80s or 70s. I mean, there's very little words. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's words and there's story, but if you go back and you look at some of the older books, I mean, they're like novels.
They are.
I mean, they're detailed and all this stuff. And go look at old Chris Claremont stuff. Go look at Stan Lee stuff. Big, huge word bubbles. A lot more story involved. So it's different type of storytelling now. It's more condensed. It's more
Streamlined.
Streamlined, and you get books every 2 weeks and stuff like that. So they kind of spread it out, before it was once a month. I think that it's really hard for a new creator to come up with an original idea. Just because, imagine all the ideas that Stan Lee came up with, or Kirby came up with, or those guys. There's a lot more to choose from now than there was back then. So I'll give you a perfect example. Look at Umbrella Academy. You can't tell me that's not X-Men.
Of course,
that's X-Men. That is. I mean, it's told differently and different points of view and very stylistic and stuff. And I thought it was great, but that's the premise somewhat from the X-Men.
Sure.
Does that series happen without the X-Men? Probably not.
Maybe not.
Probably. I mean, maybe a little bit, but really, when you look at, I see who that is. I see who that is. They're at an academy, okay, and it's like, kids, and I'm like, okay, I get it, but everything kind of comes from something. It's just little seeds that are planted, and then people, take that and they run with it and do some really cool things with it, and they did that with Umbrella Academy, I thought. But, so I hope we do get more creators that grow up with these movies and stuff and see this. Growing up with the movies are great, but we grew up with the books.
Yeah.
And the books, the books were better than the movies.
Much better.
Any story plot that you take from the X-Men movies, and if you go read that book, it's so much better than what the movie portrayed it to be.
Sure.
It's not even close. And so if go read that book and help that create new generations of writers.
Sure.
Another thing you said, 30 to 60-year-olds, that's who's collecting right now. We're not adapting to the digital thing. I think he's right.
Yeah.
We're hesitant in doing that for our books and stuff. And like we said in the previous comment, the younger generation they don't care. They're more used to it, so it doesn't make a difference. But I think like our age, but you've kind of folded a little bit going with your digital stuff. So I don't blame you. You do you. But I think there is a lot of hesitation, and there is that market that just doesn't want to do it yet. And over the next couple of decades, that's how it's probably going to be. But eventually, that number is going to go down, and the other number is going to go up. And when that scale flips, that's when everything flips.
Sure.
So I mean, and that scale's not going to go the other direction. It's always going to be going that way, and eventually it's going to flip.
Right.
And that's just the way it is. Any thoughts on that one?
No, I agree with everything that you're saying. I've said for quite a while, all those people who own those Hulk 181s, that are, all of them are holding their value right now. But when that generation goes away, will that still hold value? Will people still want to collect that book, and will it still hold that price? I don't know.
Yeah.
But it sure scares the heck out of me.
Yeah.
And really, when it comes down to it, like I said, the younger generation, I would much rather, instead of trying to push them to pick up an actual comic book, that they would learn appreciation for an art form that is just amazing.
Yeah.
And because the industry is going to evolve whether we like it or not.
Yeah.
And how it evolves, I think, is something that we definitely can affect in some way. And so that's kind of what I think on that.
I need to go off on a little bit of tangent here because
Sure.
you kind of brought up, holding its value and stuff for the Wolverine. Last week we were talking about, the value of the books. And one of the books I mentioned, it's in the very beginning of the video, I thought it said it was kind of stupid that a video game made a comic book jump 3 times the value.
Right.
And I want to elaborate on that a little bit because I got a little bit of heat because of that statement. First off, if you've been watching me at all, I think it's dumb and stupid that any type of make a movie about a book or make a game or whatever makes a book jump in price.
Right.
I am full-hearted on a book should be valuable because it's a great book, because it's a great character, not because some executive decided to make a movie about it,
Right.
or because some executive decided to make a video game about it. I think the value of a book should be based on how good that character is, how good that book is itself. Now, is that the way things are? No, it's not. And I accept that, and that is what it is. But I really appreciate the value of the book itself and what the book does by itself.
Yeah.
Not with all this added stuff where people are just trying to make a bunch of money.
I agree.
And so I kind of wanted to put that out there because, like I said, I got a little bit of heat for saying that it was kind of stupid.
Yeah.
I still think it's kind of stupid, and like it doesn't matter if it was Miles Morales or whatever. You know,
Well, let's face it. I mean, you've always said,
Yeah.
right, that was your stance on it. So just because the comment came out about that video game, I think it was focused on. But you've always held that.
Yeah, and you know, it's like I said, it is what it is. That is how the market works now. It's not how the market worked back in the 80s and 90s when I collected, and I enjoyed that part of it because it was the value was based on how great the book was and all this stuff, and I enjoyed that. So I wish books were more like that now. It's not the case. That doesn't mean I have to accept it, and for the most part, I haven't.
Yeah.
But I just want to put that out there and kind of clarify that.
Yeah. And the other thing I want to clarify digitally.
Yeah.
Right. I don't collect digitally.
Yeah, that's not true.
It's true. I don't collect digitally. I do love the Marvel Unlimited app because it allows me to pick up and read books that I wouldn't be able to afford.
Yeah.
That's the main thing I love about the Marvel Unlimited app. And then the other thing is that I do have comic companies that are allowing me to have digital pre-release copies to be able to review. And I enjoy that as well.
Yeah.
But as far as my own personal collecting, these right are what drive me. I love the physical media.
All right. So you feel like you covered your ass with that statement?
I did.
Okay, good.
Thank you for pointing that out so elegantly.
I got the next one, the last one. This is from Raphael. I am very optimistic. I see comics growing even more in the future. I do not see this medium going to digital only. In fact, I think print counts will go up in popular titles, and indie books will be getting more attention. After the crash of the 90s, we saw the comic book industry at its lowest point up until the 2010s. But if you notice, since 2012, comic books and graphic novel sales have been creeping back up again. And now, with the help of movies and TV, I think more and more people will be getting into comics. The comic book industry is currently at its healthiest it's been since the crash, and I do not see the trend slowing down anytime soon. Just look at the numbers. 2012, 805 million. 2019, 1.2 billion. Love the channel, and I can't wait for Hero and the Kid to hit their 1K mark. Geek on. Real quick, Hero and the Kid's like 10 subscribers away from 1,000. So if you're not subscribed to Hero and the Kid yet, I only need 10 people to do it. So go do it. So
come on.
There you go. I wanted to read his because there were so many comments that were just like, "This is the end," you know. And then Raphael is very positive,
absolutely,
and optimistic. And I wanted to end on that note. Because a lot of stuff we read was kind of, man.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
And now whether this holds true, we really don't know. Mm-hmm. But I just wanted to end on a positive because I was so kind of down on reading all the comments. Like, it's all going digital. It's all this. And the next generation's not going to do it. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is a horrible subject to talk about. But Raphael had a great positive spin. Yeah. Really quick, there's another comment that was on there from Comic Crazy. He leaves a comment all the time. Mm-hmm. It's a great comment. It's extremely long. I mean, it's like 7 paragraphs. Do me a favor, go check out Comic Crazy's comment. The main reason we didn't read it is because it's so long.
Yeah.
I read it, just personally, but I don't think either of us could get through reading it live on the thing.
Right.
So, but go check out Comic Crazy's comment. He actually breaks it down by year, like what's going to happen every year between now and 10 years.
Yeah,
it's kind of fun.
He's a deep thinker,
yes.
and I really enjoy his comments. I email back and forth with him as well, and he just started putting out some videos.
He did.
And so go check out his channel as well, and give him a like and subscribe because he's putting out some good content.
Yeah, and we met him.
He did.
Yeah, nice guy. Really quick, I don't normally do this, but next week's question, I usually save it for the preview video, but I'm just going to tell you guys what it is. So next week's question is, do non-verified signatures make a difference in the value of your comic?
I'm out of here, man.
This is a conversation that me and this guy have so many times, and I give him such a hard time about it.
We went back and forth big time last night on it.
Yeah, so it's going to be some form of what I just said. Do non-verified signatures, really make a difference or a value in a comic book.
Right.
And so I just wanted to kind of give a heads up. That's what I'm going to be asking. So it should be a great conversation because we disagree on this so much.
Completely.
And so it'll be a lot of fun. But anyway, that's our topic, and that's our topic for next week, so it should be a lot of fun. I was pretty happy about reading this last comment. All the other ones were kind of sad. But, I appreciate everyone taking the time to share their thoughts, and maybe we'll revisit this in 5 to 10 years and see what's going on then, see if any of this came to fruition.
That'd be an awesome idea.
Yeah, it'd be kind of cool. But let's shift gears and get to our final 5.
Sure.
You want to go first?
Sure, I'll go first.
Okay.
You want to take your books down?
Those are yours.
These are mine?
Yeah.
Look at that. You see? You always remind me. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Well, that one's mine.
That is yours. So I got something pretty special this week. Most of you don't know, but before I got into comics, one of the things that I used to read a lot of is fantasy novels. I love swords and sorcery, and that was like my predominant entertainment before I got into comic books.
Yeah.
You guys know that my hero is Roy Thomas. He's the guy that got me into comics, his story about the Vision. And I found out that Roy Thomas did an adaptation of a fantasy story that I read back in the day that was one of my favorite. I love the Elric series by Michael Moorcock. And I found out that Roy Thomas actually did a written adaptation in comic book form of the Elric series. And I got him this week.
Look at that. You learn something new every day.
Yeah, for sure. So this came out from Pacific Comics. And this is, I'm going to do 6 issues here because that was the whole series. But there's issue number 1. And there's issue number 2.
Careful your drink there.
I know, huh?
Looks like you're going to tip it over. Especially with the 6th issue.
For sure, huh? The story revolves around an albino king.
Oh, perfect.
That needs the help of a sword that is sentient to basically create magic and all this other stuff.
Is Powder
Awesome.
in there?
Huh?
Powder?
No, Powder's not in there.
Okay.
But he's better than Powder. It's awesome stuff. The artwork inside these books is kind of like old school underground type artwork, but I really was surprised that this was out. I had no idea that it was there, and I won a bid on eBay this week and got it. So
did you read it yet?
I haven't read it yet.
Okay, cool.
So, but there's my first, well, 6. First 6.
You spoiled it. All right, next one up right here. My final 5. This is actually, it was a gift from my good friend Bob. Venom number 25, the Shannon Mayer cover. Awesome, not bad at all.
Yeah.
Very cool. And then I got this one. This was actually one of those ones that was on the sale at the TFAW. This is Venom 2099 number 1, the variant. This is like a key book. It's the first appearance of
She-Venom.
Is that what it is? Okay, so I got like a bunch of them.
Nice.
And they're like $1 a piece, so not bad. Did you get that book?
I did not get that book.
Okay, well then you can have that copy.
Thank you.
Because I got extra.
You're amazing.
That one's yours. All right, and then this is another one I got from that sale. These were only $1. Incoming number 1. This is the variant one. I thought that was a cool variant.
Nice.
And I picked up a handful of those. And then of course I got a couple my regular books of the week, and I got the Snake Eyes one, the Rob Liefeld one. That's the only cover I got. That was fine. I didn't get the John Line cover. I missed out on it. That's okay. No big deal. I have a picture of it that works out.
Is that the shoulder cover?
Yeah, that's a different one.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, you can't even keep track. Love that book. And then I wanted to end on this one because, come on, Betty Page, number 1. I haven't bought a Dynamite book in a long time. They had one copy, and I was like, it was meant to be.
There you go.
So I had to pick that up, and that was on my pull list. It was on my top 10 list. I didn't think I was going to get it because they normally don't have a lot of Dynamite stuff. But they had one there, so I got it.
That's awesome.
Very cool. And the artwork inside is really nice, and the cover is really cool as well. So
very cool.
So there you go. That's my final 5.
Great final 5.
Well, final 4, because I gave you an extra one. You put an extra book up and got an extra book, so you made off pretty well.
There you go. Make a positive any way we can.
There you go. Awesome. I also want to say thank you once again to everyone who is supporting the show and all the viewers. We've had so many new subscribers. We're over 12,000 subscribers.
Wow.
I mean, last month was our biggest month we've had as far as views and subscribers. This month already is already on pace to beat that by quite a bit. So, I mean, it's, all the new people who are watching and stuff, I appreciate your time. And we're just getting started. So,
yeah.
I mean, Good times ahead. How's it going over there on Everything Comics?
It's going pretty good. Last week I wasn't able to put out a video because I threw out my back. I said that on the last show.
Yeah.
But I was back in full swing this week. Check out my latest video. It dropped yesterday. I got to hang out with my good friend Damien, Sleeper Reader 666, and we reviewed comics yesterday. It's a great video. Please check that out. Also, I got some things coming up this week. I have a creator interview. I have Anthony Cleveland from Mad Cave Studios.
Nice.
I'm going to be interviewing him on Wednesday night, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And then I got a couple other things that I got planned. I got an unboxing, a CGC unboxing coming up.
Yeah.
And I got a smattering of other things that are in the works. I'm just going to say that. I don't want to put it out there because every time I put it out, I never do it. And
Yeah.
But
No.
right. But stay tuned. I got a lot of great things coming up.
Very cool. Yeah, his channel's doing good. Like I said, he did a video yesterday. It was awesome. It's like an hour long. Come on.
I know it was an hour.
But looking forward to the interview. That should be a lot of fun.
Thanks.
Once again, thank you so much, everybody. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this topic and all the information we provided and all the information you provided us. I think that's it. I don't know if I have anything else, so let's just kind of wrap it up.
For sure.
I'm trying to think if there's anything. No, there's nothing else.
Great coffee, great conversation.
I drank all the coffee. It's all gone. It's all gone. So
There you go.
All right, everybody. Don't forget to like and subscribe. You know what to do. We'll see you next time. Bye.